first thing I want to do is share this fun video that I made of this book I'm about to put out in just about a week. It's awesome. I love it. You're going to like it. It's called Warfare Qualified. Check it out. Pretty good, huh? I'm not a comics book guy. I have, of course, I liked comic books in junior high and high school, and I've back over there got a couple small totes with my comics from back in the day, X-Men and Wolverine, and a bunch of other things like that I liked, and some of them are worth some money now, amazingly enough. But the indie comics world is a thing. It's become a bigger thing over the last several years, and I've gotten to know a couple people in that world. But over the last couple of months, I've gotten to investigate it a little more, learned a little bit more about it, just because I don't remember exactly why, but I started to. And I tell you, I'm really disappointed on the jackassery that is going on there in this tribal hate fest that's going on in that world. Back in the day, rotate 10 years ago, people were doing independent. People have always been doing independent comics, but there was back around the time that people were cancel culture started getting going really, really roughly. Some of the folks who got booted from DC and Marvel started doing their own thing, and then Vox Day ran a crowdfunding thing. Some people talked him into doing a comic, and he crushed it, like make $250,000 or something. And after that, some of these other guys did too, and Ethan Van Sciver in particular just crushed with what he was doing, because he had a big name in comics drawing world forever, and he just went on to make a whole bunch of money. And his buddies who used to be in that world are going on and made a bunch of money. And then over the last few years, Eric July, who has made his name from being an anti-woke dude, decided to get in the thing, and he started his rippaverse. He made a whole bunch of money, and everybody's doing fine. But then you get the standard internet, YouTube drama started, and rifts started happening between them, and now everybody's casting shade on everybody, and everybody's being, frankly, retarded because, well, it might draw clicks to have my tribe versus your tribe. It would probably be better for everybody business-wise to just work together and be support each other. And I know there's always personalities involved. When there's personalities involved, there's always somebody who's going to do their pennies in a bunch. But I think this guy has the right of it here.
Which it shouldn't be this way. It should be indie creators helping other indie creators, and it should be people just enjoying comics that are not woke trash. So,
agreed, 100%, brother. Of course, that guy is one of the guys who likes to go and throw shade against he's on the Eric July Rippa side. He likes to throw shade on the other side, but he's right about that. Not really, I don't want to get into this whole drama thing, but there was a couple of videos I found as I've been learning about this whole, whatever you want to call it, that I thought were interesting from a business perspective that I wanted to talk through. So, from the business of writing, what have you, and both creative business and just business in general. So, Let's go over here to Niobe Gaming talking about how Eric July and the Rippaverse is superior to comicsgate in every single way. Ho, ho, ho. Well, let's see why.
You know, the thing is, and you can really compare the Rippaverse with comicsgate by four main categories: vision, execution, community, and resilience. Okay, those are your four categories. So the clearer vision is just Eric's vision is, I want to make, the priority is to make a brand new universe, a brand new version, his version, right, of the MCU. He wants his own characters alive and thriving in his own world. Everything is connected, everything matters, everything counts. The problem with comicsgate is they don't have that, okay? They rather fight culture war.
Well, leaving aside the culture war thing, I'm not sure that's correct what he's saying there, but leaving aside the culture war thing, why is the big integrated universe thing superior? My understanding what the Van Sciver and the comicsgate dudes are doing is they're just doing their thing. They're just, making comics that they want to make, and some of them are culture warriors and some of them are not. Eric July is explicitly a culture warrior. That's why he made his whole name on. So saying that he's not about that is false. But why is it better to do this whole grand encompassing world than to not? I'm not certain that it is. This guy, I don't know much about this Niobe Gaming guy. From his voice, he sounds young. I think he said he's been doing this for about 10 years, so I think he's probably a millennial type guy, so he grew up with the MCU and all this sort of thing. And so that's what he's used to in movies. And I know that's what you can say, hey, Gaineswood, Marvel and DC did their universes. Yeah, okay, true. I don't know that much about comic history because I'm not a comics guy, but I can almost guarantee you, at least I have to believe, that, when Stan Lee sat down, he wasn't like, hey, man, we're going to make this huge big, we're going to make this thing with Doctor Strange over here, and the X-Men over here, and the Avengers over here, and Iron Man over here, and everybody else over there, and the Guardians of the Galaxy over there, and Silver Surfer doing his thing over here, and what? No, it's sort of, it can't have been that way. It's something that had to have grown organically, right? Start with a few characters, a few stories, add more over time, and branch out and go. Part of the reason why the DC films keep falling in the faces is they're trying to do everything all at once, and then it becomes a jumbled mess. The reason the MCU worked in the cinema and the movies is because they had one character at a time, made you care about them, and gradually put them in. Trying to do it all at once can be a big problem. In the prose writing world, especially in fantasy, there's an issue with people spend so much time on world building. World building, make this great, awesome world, and it's like, oh man, I got these countries over here, and they're in conflict with this thing over here, and this race over here, and the elves over there, and the dwarves over there, and they do all this stuff, and they never actually write their novel. Right? It's been, every now and then you have somebody like Tolkien who built his world over 20 or 30 years, and then writes the novel, and it's amazing, right? But that's not the norm. Most people are not that smart and not that dedicated, or frankly don't have a position as a professor in Oxford where he's able to, or was it Cambridge, whichever one, where they have the the guaranteed income, where they have the luxury of extra time to do that with. But the point is that organic growth, I think, is a more likely to generate success in making a great, encroaching, awesome world than not. And I haven't read any of Eric's books, but I have seen some of the critiques of them, saying that ISOM and Sciver and all those suffered because they put so many characters in that were completely unrelated, and it lost the plot, and what the hell's going on here, and why do I care about any of it, right? Whereas if you just focus, again, I don't know, I haven't read it, but that's what the critiques I've heard. But even if that wasn't the case, let's say he's pulling it off wonderfully. I don't know, I haven't read it. He's pulling it off wonderfully. Why is that superior than some other dude over here just doing his own thing and making his books over here with his buddy over here is doing his own thing, making a different book over there? Why is that superior? You could say, well, Marvel and DC did it that way and they made more money. Okay, well, if that's the metric you're going to go by, then okay, that's fine. But that's not the only metric. From a creative point of view, I mean, it's not superior, it's just more profitable, right? I think with this dude, yeah, again, never met this guy, but he's falling for the idea that consolidated and controlled and top down necessarily means better, maybe, which is weird because Eric July is he's an anarcho-capitalist libertarian type guy. He doesn't want top down control of things. It's not what he's going for in life, but this guy seems to be advocating for it in comics. Not Eric. I don't know what Eric's, but this guy seems to be saying that sort of consolidated control is by definition better, which I don't know that it is. But even if it was, that doesn't then necessitate being in an ideological or tribal war with people who are doing things differently. It's just a different business model. I don't get it. It's just different ways of doing things, different ways of creating the world. It's both can exist and both can be successful and both can be cool. Why one should be opposed to the other and proclaim that it's superior to the other is beyond me. Again, one may make more money than the other. But so what? If we're talking about, creative arts here and putting cool stuff out for the world for people to enjoy, why do we got to run the other one down? Because it makes less money, or vice versa. If one makes less money and says, I make less money, but I'm superior to the other way that makes more money, why do you got to run the other one down? Yeah, I get it. You're trying to drive YouTube clips or whatever. Or if you're the underdog is maybe making less money, you want to make the guy who's making more money look bad so that maybe you drive more customers your way. But, I mean, that doesn't mean it's... And that's all legit from a business rhetoric thing, but some of these guys are talking about it like it's some great moral crusade. Okay, going back to this guy, the first guy that I quoted, he was saying it would be great if everybody was just going on, Renowned here, Renowned Zero. I don't know who he is, but he's definitely on the Rippa side. He's going to bring up the other side of it, the money side, which I think is interesting to talk about too. He's definitely sort of on the moral superiority side too, but he's talking money here. Let's see what he's got to say.
You got Yaru number 3's collection at 1,454 in total books sold. I have yet to put in my pre-order. I will be doing so after this video goes live. 41,301 total sales. And why this is important? Because you have your usual furry clowns who sit there and act as if you're going to, screenshot this right at the beginning of the campaign going live. Meanwhile, it's beating out this trash campaign right over here with the $100 hoodie of Salamandroid, decimating it completely within the first couple of hours. But that's beyond the point. Now I'm moving on over to ISOM number 3's pre-order collection at 15 days, 7 hours, 13 minutes, and 35 seconds, sitting in at 9,585 in total books sold, at 558,000 in total sales, absolutely destroying Cyberfrog 3 in its initial 30 to 60 days of being live from 2 years ago, also beating out Ethan Van Sciver's Rainbow the Brute that's been live for almost 4 years. So what are we talking about here exactly? So you're sitting there doing this nonsense with the Yaira number 3 campaign, yet the ISOM number 3 campaign beats out Cyberfrog 3's sales in its initial launch, as well as Rainbow the Brute's entire launch. So we're sitting here talking about how the rippaverse is failing, quote unquote, meanwhile it's beating out every single CG in recent time.
Okay. Cool. I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad they're doing so well. So one of the things I'd like to do, I haven't done it as much recently, but if you've been on my channel and you've looked at my videos and some of my shorts, you've seen I go sailing. I've gone sailing with my buddies. There's a sailing channel here called Reversing Entropy, which has a video about him that I think is apropos here. Go with me on this.
Did you know that charging your phone with a wireless charger is only 70% efficient? It's like trying to fill a glass of water like this. 30% of your power is just wasted. Aboard a sailboat, there are a lot of situations like this. Some are big, some are smaller, but put them all together and they make a huge difference. It's about doing the exact same things using much less power. Aboard Starry Night, we only have 2 solar panels, and yet we have a big freezer running 24/7. We cook only using induction. We have a microwave oven and we use it every day. Dishwasher that we use every single day. Wi-Fi router connected to the internet and connected to Starlink. And this thing is running 24/7. TV that we use for many hours every single day. And if it's a sunny day, we actually have excess power that we put into our water heater and we can all have hot showers. My point is, we are not exactly camping over here. I will show you all the things that you can do to use your power more efficiently.
He's talking about power on a sailboat, which sailboat, if you don't know sailboats, right, you're away from land, you just have a battery pack, and you got a diesel engine. And a lot of times sailboats nowadays, almost if you're going cruising on a sailboat, you got solar panels on there, and some people have wind generators, but not so much anymore because they're noisy and they can't use them in certain conditions, and the bulky solar panels have gotten a lot better, so people put solar panels on their boats. And there's a lot of discussion about, oh man, I need more and more solar panels, more and more solar panels, more and more solar panels. But sometimes they lose out on the efficiency side, and so they don't get the punch out of their panels that they could per se. The point is, and his graphic for this was, it's not about how much power you generate, right? So, you know, my man here, Renowned Zero, he's right. I mean, Rippa's been putting in, getting a lot of money. More than the Van Sciver guys have been, which I don't know why that matters. Because it's not a dick measuring contest, right? But just revenue isn't the only thing here, right? It's different business models. Let's go over here. It's also a matter of outflow, cash flow. Somebody told me, I saw somebody on Twitter a week or two ago. It's like, hey, look at that. The Rippaverse guys, the Rippaverse has generated $2.6 million of revenue so far this year. I'm like, hey, that's great. And it is great. I love that they're doing so well. What's their outflow? Right, so this is their transparency update from 2023, right? Things are different, but look at what some things is going on here, right? The first quarter, the last fiscal quarter when they wrote this, put $350,000 of payroll expense with 15 employees. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on other things, and they have at least $15,000 per month on rent for their warehouse. Okay, cool. So 350,000 times 4 is 1.4 million. 15,000 per month times 12 is 180,000. So that's $1.6 million. Oh wait, no, because $350,000 in payroll, is that including benefits? Let's assume it is. So that's $1.6 million a year of overhead before any variable costs of printing and shipping and packing and all other sort of things go on, right? Okay. This year, right now, their website has only 11 employees listed, right? So Eric makes probably more than all the rest of them, but let's say they've got an average, let's just say an average salary of 80 grand a year. Maybe. No, let's just go with that. All right, so that times 12, that's 960,000. Double that to account for retirement accounts and benefit packages and Social Security tax and all that. That's 1.9 million a year. Okay, cool. Add the 180,000 for the warehouse space. Now you're at 2.1 million per year in overhead before you've added any variable costs for printing, shipping, inventory costs, whatever, what have you. So if you made 2.6 million so far this year, well, okay, great. You've probably covered your overhead for the year, maybe. But yeah, are you okay? Cool. Now compare that to Van Sciver, who says it's just him and his wife doing his thing. And I think he's got a warehouse now, and he keeps talking about boys who are in there who are doing it for him. So let's say, I don't know how many, he hasn't disclosed how many people he's employing, but let's assume there's 3 people times 80,000 a year. That's 240,000 a year. Double that for benefits, and give another 100,000 for, let's say Ethan's getting another 100,000. Ethan and his wife, he pays himself and his wife 100,000 a year, 200,000 after benefits, the 680. Let's assume that there's 15,000. Let's assume he's paying the same amount of rent. So you got 180,000 for the warehouse, plus 400,000 for Ethan and his wife, plus we have 480,000 for the rest. He's got 1,060,000 in overhead compared to the 2.1 that July and the Rippaverse does. It's just me pulling numbers out of my butt, and I'm not trying to say that one of them's better than the other. What I am trying to say is that merely going and looking at revenue, like my boy Renowned Zero here is, and saying that because greater revenue, therefore doing better in business. No, dude, that's only part of the thing. You got to look at the whole picture. If you're going to make a judgment based on money and cash flow, you can't just do it based on revenue, right? I mean, this is dumb. But let's say all that's out of the world, and Rippaverse really is completely crushing the comicsgate guys in revenue, in profit, actual profit. So what? Why does that make them better than the comicsgate guys? Right? I mean, you may not like the personalities of the comicsgate dudes, or the comicsgate dudes may not like Eric July's personality, but and that's fine. You may not like the product. You may think that the Cyberfog thing is crap, and Isom and Sciver are the best, or vice versa. Or was it Shane Davis's thing, the Dino, whatever it is? Okay, well, that's a personal preference. It doesn't mean they're inherently or morally or whatever better than the other just means you don't like it as much. Why there has to be this pseudo moral crusade in the indie comics world is beyond me. It's just the most gay, stupid, retarded thing ever. Like Renowned Zero said here in the first video of his that I pulled up, it should just be people who like comics who are doing it independently supporting each other. Now Eric's got a different business model. He intentionally is setting up a publishing arm, and now he's got his Rip His Hand thing, and he's helping other people publish their own stuff through him, and good for him. That's a cool thing. Ethan's kind of throwing shade on it, saying that's the only way he can keep his cash flow going right, and I don't know about that, and I don't really care. I like to think that Eric's being true, and then he's like, hey man, he wants to help other people get their work out there, and he does get more profit for his business, so hey, it's cool. But it's this whole jackasstic tribal chicanery is so stupid and dumb and gay. I don't understand it. It's also nobody thinks it through at all. So that's enough about indie comics. Hey, ETL. You just started reading my book and you're liking it so far. Well, I'm glad you liked it. Glad you're liking it, rather. And thanks for popping in. Hey, look at that. I actually got a chat. This is the funnest thing ever. Maybe I'll actually do more of these live streams as time goes on. But as I figure out the right way to do them, I've had a few miscues about them over the weeks, but I think we're maybe starting to get a feel for it now. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the indie comic jackasstic, stupid tribal thing. I think it's wasteful. I think it's dumb. I think both sides who talk trash about each other are missing the big picture. And it really should be what that guy Renowned Zero said. People who like comics supporting each other to put out comics. It's the dumbest thing ever. Now, again, I'm not a comics guy. I'm not in the game. I'm just looking at it from the outside and finding some of it amusing. And frankly, the comicsgate guys who hate Eric are a lot more funny than the rippaverse guys who hate Ethan. But it's like, come on, guys. Can we stop being gay and stupid and so dumb?